Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world of Wayne. We now got pack 2, which is stages 5 to 8 of the IXO Collections release of Build the Porsche 917kh. Now if you've missed the first part of this, I've put a link up here for pack 1 and that covered stages 1 to 4. And let me just show you some of the things that we had in that. We had these lovely pieces of bodywork here, the headlights, a headlight surround, a tyre, a brake disc, which looks, look at that, that looks amazing, the brake disc. We had some of the suspension there. We started on the engine and the gear. Well, this is actually the gearbox. We're going to be finishing that in this pack today. We did the steering wheel, and we've got some other various things here left over from pack 1. Actually loads to do in pack 1, and pack 2 is no different. So if you want to get this for yourself, I've put the link down here to the IXO Collections website. You can get this all the way from pack 1. Now the instructions, as I said, when they come to you are in French. They do the instructions online in English though, and if you check the video description, you'll see a link to that at the moment. Now at the time of writing this, the box 2 instructions hadn't been done into English yet, so I'm using Google Translate to build it for you today, but hopefully I can just do more things together just by looking at the pictures. So without further ado, let's get cracking. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to be working on the support, which means we need this section here, and we also need this brace, which is going to go on the top, and we also need this tiny bracket. Now the bracket does have a semicircular hole, which is just going to go into the end here, so it's just going to match, making sure I put that round the right way. It's going to go around this way here. And when that's all the way in, it will fit in like that. We're then going to put this brace in. Now this has got a longer end and a shorter end. It's the shorter end that's going to go into the hole in the top of this support here. And the longer end is going to go into the actual metal part of this support. So I'll put that in and show you what that looks like. And make sure that's gone all the way in. It should fit itself in, no problems at all. But that's the support in. Now we're going to bring over the side of the transmission that we worked on in the last pack, and quite simply this is just going to go into the side here, matching the shape of this bracket. So when we put it in, it's going to look just like that. There is a locating lug. We're going to hold it in from the other side here with a JM screw. So I've got that here. I'm going to put that in a little bit of oil just to help drive that in. Going in from the other side here, and make sure that's really tight. There we go, that's in perfectly. Now we're going to be putting the internal support in. Where all this was metal, this is actually plastic, but let me just show you how this goes. It's basically going to fit in over this lug here into this circle, so it's going to fit in just like that. Now it is once again held in with 3 JM screws into the 3 holes that we've got here. So that's the first one. Make sure this is in nice and tight, because this is going to piece together the gearbox. One at this side, and finally just one down the bottom here. So that will look like that. We can put it to one side because we're going to work on building the starter motor now, and this is quite simple. We've got the back brace of the starter motor. We're going to put the actual unit, main unit, on there, and the little solenoid we've got here will be going on top, and they are just pushed to fit, and there we go. That's going to be the quickest made starter motor you've ever seen. Now that's going to go into the base of the transmission here, and it's going to fit onto this screw hole just like that in there. It's going to be held in with a HM screw. Now this is a flanged screw, and it's just going to make sure that all of this stays in one place. That's all the way in, and there we go, that's the starter motor attached. Now we're going to be taking the base of the transmission, and we're going to be marrying this up with the section that we've just built here. So it's going to go on the base there, and as you can see, we've got the 3 holes at the bottom. They're going to match these 3 holes here, so when we put it on, it's going to look just like that, and that's going to be held in with BM screws. So one here, and again nice and tight. Now you will notice that we've got quite a lot of screws in this pack, And the good thing is about this pack is they've sent us some free gifts, which I'm going to show you in a second, what they've actually sent us, which are going to be an absolute godsend for this build. So I'll just put the third one in here now. There we go. And there we go, that's what the base looks like when that's on. Now before I continue, let me just show you the first free gift, which is basically a stand light here, which when I put it on, very bright, but I can actually have that as a little desk light just to help me out there when I'm doing quite a nice little nifty thing. And the other thing they've sent us is this excellent screw box to keep everything in, and they have gave us a sticker to put over the top of it. It's a pretty plain sticker. I would have thought they'd have the Porsche logo in there or something, but that's the sticker that goes on top of it. And what you do, they have got individual trays that do come out, so we can actually store these in one place. So we can put that to one side because we're going to be actually working on the rear section of that now. All of this is metal, by the way, so we've got a couple of details to put into the end of this. The first one looks just like that, and that's just going to go into the two holes that we can see here. So that's the first and the second, and then just push that home. And then we've got a tiny silver detail looking like that, which I believe is the pump, and that's just going to go onto the bottom hole here. And when you're happy with that, it should look like that, and that's all there is to do in that stage. Now we do have a bracket left over which looks like that, and that will be used later on. As you can see, we're going to be building on what we've just done there. We're also going to be making one of the joints to put on and piecing this all together, so we do have a finished transition, and that's issue 6. So once again, we've got this side of it, and once again it's all metal, really heavy, really good quality as well, looking like that. Now we do have another support to put on it that looks like that. So when we put this in, it's going to go in just like that. It's going to be held in with a BM screw. Now I still have one of these BM screws from the last pack, so I'm not going to open a new pack just yet, but I will get that in. I have put that in a little bit of oil, so that's in nice and tight. Put that to one side because we're going to be making one of the joints now. This is going to get a little bit fiddly, so we need basically these two sections here. This is going to go in like that, and it's going to be held in either side with an IM screw. Now when you put this in, you want to ensure that you can get to the other sides as well, because we're going to be having to attach that the next time. So I'm going to put it in this way, IM screw through here, and start that off. And before you tighten it, as I said, it needs to be that way round, because we're going to need to get to these screws in a second. Put another IM screw in the other side here, and then tighten it up, but you don't want it too tight that you can't move it. So I'm just doing it hand tight, just like that. And all we've got to do then is take the bracket for the end, and this is why these ends needed to be free, because that's going to go in like that, once again held in with IM screws. So I'll put one in very gently there, and one on this side, and there you go. That's the joint in place, looking like that. Now this joint is going to be going onto this section like that. If I show you this side, this has got an indent in it. They're two similar ones, but one of them's flat inside. We want the ones with the indents. Now it can only go in one way, because the end of this, as you can see, has got a semicircular pattern, so this is going to go in like that there. It's going to be held in once again with an IM screw. So I'll tighten that up all the way, so that's now fitting flat in there like that. We can then cap that off on the other side here with this one. As you can see, we've got two holes here. We're just going to line those two holes up with the bigger holes that we've got on here. So this is going to go on like that, and we're going to put in some GM screws just to keep that in place. And the second one just over the other side here. So that looks like that. And in the vacant holes here, we're going to put this detail just over the top here, and that's going to be screwed in with GM screws also. So one here, and just one on the other side. The detail on this, I'm sure you'll agree, is amazing. But that's in. So now it looks like that. We're going to take the side of the transmission now, because this is going to go into this side here, this way round, So I'm going to put that in like that. I want to make sure that this section here is in an up-down sort of configuration like that there. Pretty much like we did for the other one on this side. And that's going to be held in with a CM screw. Now when you tighten these up, you will notice there's a little tiny bit of play in this. Actually, there's quite a lot of play in this. But it's not going to matter too much because this is going to be quite secure when we actually put the wheels on there. But that's going to go in that side there. Don't worry too much about that wobble there. All we've got to do then is take the other side of the transmission and we're going to actually just piece both of these pieces together like this. And we're going to hold that together with 2 BM screws. So I'll put the M one in. I'm just putting this one in at this side here. And then tighten them both up as tight as you can possibly get them. And there you go. That should look like that. We're then going to be putting the end on here. This is going to go this way round, just over the top here, like that. Once again, that's going to be held in with FM screws. So one here. I'll keep that held on for me. One on the other side. And then just one at the top. So when that's done, they're all in. And then all we've got to do is take the bracket from the last stage that we had, looking like that. Then holding it this way round, we're going to be putting this against this area here. And as you can see, we've got some holes to actually screw this in with. It's going to go on like that. We're actually going to be screwing that in with IM screws. Now we do need 4 of these. There's the first one. And now that's going to hold everything in. That's the second. 2 more. One here. And then just one at the bottom. And that was the last screw. That's all there is to do in that stage. Look how that is looking. Amazing. In stage 7, we're going to start working on the upper part of the cylinder. Get all of these parts out. And this is what that looks like. Look at that. Nice and heavy, nice and metal again. First thing we're going to do is going to piece together these sections here. So quite simply, all we're going to do is just match up the lugs with the holes. So this is the first one here. No glue needed. You can just push them together like that. These are metal, just so you know. And there's the second one here as well. The fact that these are metal, you can imagine the weight this engine's going to be. Crazy. Now these are going to go onto this cover here, this way round, so that we've got this side facing outwards. They're going to be held in with IM screws. You do want to make sure it's this side that's facing up, not that side. So put that in there. Bit of oil to help me out here going into metal. And we'll screw that in. I'm just going to make sure that's lined up perfectly before I tighten that up, which it is. Tighten that up completely. We do the same on the other side here. Make sure that's nice and tight as well. And they are uniform, so they are pointing exactly the same direction there, which they are. So that should look like that. We then got another bracket support here, which is going to go over these 3 lugs here. So it's going to fit on like that. That's going to be held in with BM screws. So put them in. And when all 3 of those are in, they should look like that. And then we're just going to take the oil filter here. This bit apart is plastic, and just push this together. So it's one unit like that. And then this is just going to go between these sections here, just on here. Now it is directional, just ensure you put it on the right way. It's going to be pressed into these holes here. As a matter of fact, one of the lugs are bigger anyway, so you can only put it in one way. and it's going to push into here. Make sure you push it all the way down. But when that's in, that should look like that, and that's all there is to do in that stage. Which means in stage 8 we're going to be working on the cylinders here. Look how many there are, and as you can see we've got another little free gift here, which is some tweezers. I probably won't use them, I've got my own, but it's handy to have. Get all of these parts out, and just like we did last time, the first thing we're going to do is marry up these sections, the male parts to the female parts, so they go together just like that. That's one, and we continue doing that until we've got through all of them. So by the end of it, you should have 8 cylinders here, looking like that. We're going to quickly just make the filter. That looks like that. We've got to put the cap in the end. Again, that's just a push to fit. And likewise, in the same way, we're going to be doing the same thing on the oil pump here. We've got 2 lugs just on this section that's going to go in here. We've got a couple of pipes that we need to put in each side of that. So I'll just get these out. Oh, pipe work. It's been a while. So one's just going to go onto the part that we just pressed in, and then one just on the other side here, like that. Holding the top block in here, this is just going to go into the side. Now we do have a locating lug at the bottom there. It's going to go in like this, and it's going to be held in with a CM screw. I've got that here. Screw that in. It is a nice tight fit. And now this is going to be attached to the transmission. So holding it this way round, this is just going to go over the top like that. And once again, it's going to be held in with 3 screws, which are the 3 BM screws. So one here. One just on the other side here. And then finally one down the bottom. And when that's in, that should look just like that. And that is all there is to do in that stage. Now we do have these sections here, which we're not doing anything with, but that will be done at a later stage. But there you go, looking pretty cool. And there we go, that was pack 2 done all the way up to stage 8. That engine is massive, absolutely massive. Let me just show you here. Look at it. Absolutely ginormous. It's really heavy as well, but God, the detail on it is absolutely amazing. But if you want to get this for yourself, once again, put the link down here to the IXO Collections website. You can get this all the way from pack 1. Now, it's this build that got me back into Steve McQueen films, because I watched the Le Mans film, the 1970 Le Mans film, and I do believe we are getting a figurine of Steve McQueen in one of the later episodes, and that's actually detailed in the pack 1 video that I mentioned at the start of this video. But I really do hope you liked that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, have a great weekend. Take care.